covering. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, real quick, this one's a little more special, right? It's a little more special, right? There's a man, right, that gave so much to this city and this organization, right? He bleeded blue. He represented the horseshoe every single day. He loved this team, right? He's not with us physically, but he's in this locker room spiritually. He's watching down on us, right? And he raised, right, 3 daughters, right, to run a football team. And we couldn't be more thankful for you 3 girls. But it means a lot to me and everyone in this organization, how he raised you guys, right, to put you in this position to go lead this organization. And we're so thankful for all 3 of you guys. And we got 3 game balls here. All right.
This means so much. Someone said the roof is open so he could watch us, and he was with every single one of you, including us. And thank you for doing this for us, but for him, he loved this team so much, and this really, really means a lot. These types of moments are what meant every single moment like this. He would tell us as part of our bedtime stories, like, this meant everything, and it also means so much to us. So from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Get a win for Jim. You guys got it? Win for Jim!
That was head coach Shane Steichen and the daughters of Jim Irsay. He was giving the game balls to the daughters of Jim Irsay after the Colts win. Just a celebration in the locker room, and you would hope so. After a long streak of week 1 futility for the Indianapolis Colts, it finally comes to an end, this time with a 33-8 win over the Miami Dolphins. And hey, I think that a lot of us hoped that the Colts would be able to pull this one out. But there were a lot of questions. New defensive coordinator, how will the defensive look? We know that it would be different, but how effective would that be? And they were pretty effective. The offensive line, how would that hold together? Because yes, there's a lot of good parts there with guys who are returning, but you had some new guys in the middle there. And for the most part, aside from some holding penalties here and there, and they did give up a sack, things were pretty good on the offensive line, able to run the ball fairly effectively when they wanted to in this game. And then the big question mark, I think, for everybody, and we'll discuss that a little bit later, is Daniel Jones at quarterback. There was a quarterback competition for the Colts. We've talked about a lot on the podcast here, and we just didn't know how this was going to look. And I see. I see the vision now for kind of what Daniel Jones can be out there, right? Changed the play at the line of scrimmage. He looked in complete control and command of what he wanted to do and what the Colts wanted to do on the offensive end. And he made decisive throws. He was quick with his releases, and most of the time, he in most cases, there's always a throw or two from most quarterbacks in a game, even the great ones. For the most part, he was decisive with the ball, put the ball where he needed to go, even saw the ability to make some deep plays. And they got some chunk plays. They got a chunk play to Mo Alley Cox. We saw some chunk plays to Tyler Warren. He had a big one to Alec Pierce. It wasn't a chunk play. You chunk play, explosive play by NFL terms is usually something that's in the range of 20 plus yards. And he had one to A.D. Mitchell. It wasn't quite 20 yards, but you know what? He caught it. So we'll count it. We'll say that it's close enough, and really just a dominating performance for the Colts. I picked them in this game mostly with my heart because I wanted the Colts to be good this season. I wanted them to win. I wanted them to show, that we're building towards something, right? And it's just week 1, so let's not get too have too much overreaction. But there is some reason for excitement here. Even as miserable as a football team as Miami looked at times, there is reason for some optimism here from the Indianapolis Colts and for Colts fans in particular. And I think that is just a tremendous thing for the team. So Let's hear from head coach Shane Steichen to see what he has to say about the team's win.
Just a great team win. Everybody in that locker room, every coach, every player, the preparation that goes into it to play the way we did, complimentary football on both sides of it. For 4 quarters was awesome. I thought Lou did a hell of a job calling the game on defense, putting those guys in position. I thought Jim Bob did a great job with the offense all week. Mason with the special teams, the takeaways, and then converting 17 points off that. That's playing complimentary football. And I'm excited for the city, this organization, to get this first win at home. With Mr. Irsay going in the Ring of Honor, it was only fitting to get that done today. He just changed the protection. He checked the protection on it, yeah, he made a few of those all game. There's a lot of that stuff that goes on. We had another one on 4th down where he checked it and they brought 0 and he threw it to down. So he makes a lot of plays like that for us.
How important was it to get off to the start the game in the first half?
It was huge. I think getting those takeaways by our defense was big, and then converting there. Obviously, we had some. I think we had to settle for some field goals there. But again, I thought Spence did a great job. Kicking the field goals, the kickoff coverage team. We talked about that. That was one of the keys going into this game was covering kicks, and I thought our guys did a really good job of that all game. Like I said, it was just a great team win. The atmosphere in there with the fans was electric. It was just awesome.
It's week 1, but just for Daniel, what do you think the impact on the season?
It was huge. Like I said, we want to stay on schedule and complete balls. I don't remember what was the stats. 22 of 29 for 272 and a touchdown and 2 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, he played good ball. We got to continue that every week. It's 1 week at a time, but that's the preparation he puts in. He was ready to roll, and guys went out there and made plays for him.
Did you plan to go for it on 4th down quite a bit today, or is that just kind of a flow of the game thing?
Yeah, it just depends on where you're at, field position wise, but felt good with the 4th down calls and guys and what we were facing. And obviously, I think we were 3 for 3 there in those situations, which were huge.
You guys haven't always used the sneak. Is there something to think of those passes?
Yeah, I think he's 3rd all-time of active quarterbacks with sneaks, so he does a nice job with it. It's impressive. I thought the first play, the one we just talked about, hitting him down the boundary, but then that 3rd down right there with about 6 minutes left, making a guy miss and then running a guy over or 2 guys over, whatever he did, just the physicality. He's an old-school throwback freaking baller is what he is.
How much what is value applied to all the different ways you can line them up, personnel?
Oh, it's huge. You can do a lot with them. Obviously, you guys saw we lined them up at fullback today and got a short yardage there with them and just different things, the way we use them in the pass game. And so keep getting creative with them.
They're obviously tough to run against. But did you think coming in that you would have to win this football?
I thought there were some opportunities to throw it early and often, and that's kind of what we did. And I thought, he was great. He was throwing it well, so we kept throwing it. Obviously, got the lead there early, which was huge for us. It was a huge play. I mean, they were in cover 2 right there, and we had an out-and-up call, and he let that thing go so early and just trusted it, and Pitt made a great catch right there to score. It was a big-time play. Huge. He should be fine. He's good, yeah.
What does it mean to you and the team to perform this way on the day that you're celebrating this Thursday?
Yeah, I think it means everything, and what I mean by that is honoring a man that did so much for this community and this organization. Obviously, he's not with us physically, but he's definitely with us spiritually, everywhere we go. And so to win like we did today with him watching down on us was awesome.
You gave 3 game balls in the locker room to the Irsay daughters. Take us through that moment.
I just kind of talked about, what their dad, meant to this organization, kind of just hit on a little bit, and then just, him raising those 3 daughters and doing it the right way and, setting them up for a moment, to take over this team. And I thought it was just really special and really fitting for them being, full-time owners now to get a game ball. And it was pretty special in there.
Do you see a game like this as limited as it was for Evan Mitchell making some nice catches?
Yeah, it was huge. Obviously, getting that deep out was good, that we hit to him early. Had another thing called for him down in the red zone. We just didn't get the right look for it, so we checked out of the play. But again, he's a one-on-one guy. Obviously, won there on that route, so got to keep going there.
From Lou's standpoint,
wired, is what it was. He was putting those guys in position, multiple looks, hitting them at the right time. The pass rush was getting home. It was only fitting signing Cam Bynum, and he gets the first pick. And to do a celebration, and Latu gets a pick in there. I mean, it was awesome. I can't wait to watch the tape, but defense played awesome.
Could you back up one more? The confusion it was causing different looks?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have multiple looks like that and different coverage things and you're flying around, obviously it puts a lot of thought, in the quarterback's head. So, like I said, those guys did an unbelievable job.
What is the win?
Cadence one or two times to get them to jump, get free plays. That's just another little edge.
There's no doubt. There's all those little things, the game within the game. Those are conversations that happen in offensive staff meetings, and then he brings them to the offensive meetings, and he stands up and talks about it like, hey, here's what I'm going to do on this, fellas. And guys are all locked in and ready to go.
How does a win like this springboard you guys for the rest of the season?
I think it's good. Anytime you can start off fast, 1-0, obviously against an AFC opponent is huge. So it's good. Enjoy it tonight, but our focus got to be on Denver coming up here.
And again, that was Indianapolis head coach Shane Steichen talking about some of the different elements of the game for the Colts and how he thought they performed. Just a quick look at some of the statistics for Indianapolis. Again, I do want to talk about Daniel Jones. I thought he was very good for Indy. He was 22 of 29 for 272 yards, had a touchdown. He was sacked one time. And after that sack, which also included a holding penalty, Jones found Michael Pittman for a long touchdown pass. That was his sole touchdown pass of the day. He had 2 more touchdowns via quarterback sneaks near the goal line. So it's interesting because that's something that we would have expected to see from Anthony Richardson, but we actually saw that from Daniel Jones as being effective at the goal line. And so a really good day for him. Again, almost 300 yards passing, 272, average 9.4 yards there per attempt. And that is really what you want to see, a quarterback rating just south of 116. He carried the ball 7 times for 26 yards, had a couple of touchdowns there, and did have a long run of 11 yards for the Colts. From a receiving standpoint, we had Michael Pittman Jr. with 6 catches for 8 yards and that touchdown. It was a 27-yard touchdown. 7 catches for 76 yards for Tyler Warren. We'll discuss him in just a bit. The one to Pierce for 36 yards. And maybe something that I didn't necessarily expect. Jonathan Taylor playing a fairly large, you would expect Jonathan Taylor to play a fairly large role in the game, right? But really being, it was only 3 passes, and I understand that. But still, some nice check down opportunities with Jonathan Taylor, get him involved in the passing game. And you just feel like, he didn't have the big one on offense as far as, he didn't have that 50-yard run or that 45-yard run that we're so used to seeing from Taylor. But he did have long play of 15 on the ground, and then he did have a 16-yard reception. And you just feel like the more opportunities that you give Jonathan Taylor throughout the course of the game, the better chance there is that perhaps he breaks one of those, because he is just one of the most explosive players in the game. And I don't want to get too overhyped about things. I don't want to get too excited. It was week 1. Nobody has much film on the Colts right now as this offense is currently constituted. They don't have much film on the Colts as the defense is currently constituted either. So this was kind of a new experience for both us as fans and observers of the team, and then also for other teams to kind of see what the Colts have up their sleeve. And what they've got up their sleeve is a pretty compelling offense, I think. And, it is all about the quarterback. And we've talked about it. We think that, the Colts have some really good pieces on defense and on offense. And they were able to kind of bring it all together in week 1. Now, week 2 will be more of a challenge. You've got Denver, and they did not have a great game offensively against the Titans in week 1. Kind of squeaked by a win there, but that defense is pretty tough. So we'll have to see if Daniel Jones is able to be as efficient and effective. And I think the other big thing is, and we've seen this from Colts quarterbacks last few years and stuff, just a tendency to kind of turn the ball over, put the ball in jeopardy. And I thought Daniel Jones, for the most part, did a very good job of not doing that. I mean, he didn't have any turnovers, no fumbles. We didn't have a fumbled snap or anything like that, which we did see in the preseason. Didn't hit every single throw, but he hit almost 76% of his throws for the Colts. So really, I thought a really nice performance from Daniel Jones. He has got to be happy. The team has got to be happy. And while we had this quarterback competition, and I still think that Anthony Richardson Sr. has a lot of upside. When you saw the way that Daniel Jones worked with that offense, the way he came to the line of scrimmage and he made his calls and he audibled, made his checks and all those types of things, he looked like a guy who really knew what he was doing. And that was tremendous to see up there as a Colts fan. So without further ado, let's hear from Indiana Jones.
And the team played well. I think I've learned over the years it's it's a long season, 17-game season, and you got to play at a high level for the whole time. So good start. I think we feel good about the start for sure. Some things to clean up and work on, but I think everyone on our team's mature enough, knows enough that we've got to continue to grow and improve. The best teams in the league continue to build on success and improve, and it's about what you're able to sustain through the course of the season. So I think that's the mindset of our group now.
7 of 7 pretty well down offense as far as scoring, but why did you really put so much on offense?
I thought we were able to, we blended we had a lot, efficient in the pass game, some big plays here and there, and then we ran the ball at a really high level. I think that was huge. A number of times we got great field position thanks to turnovers from our defense. The guys up front played awesome the whole time, protecting, and then in the run game, creating space for our backs to run. So I think a lot of things when you're able to do that, it's a lot of things, and I think it starts up front.
How do you know when to use cadence as a weapon?
I think it's just certain situations in the game. When try to mix it in there, and that's an advantage on offense is that we know the snap count and we can anticipate that and get off on the ball. So you try to mix it up to keep that advantage.
Where did you first learn that? Is it just something you kind of develop over the years?
Yeah, I think it's just something you develop just playing and practicing and seeing what works. But yeah, we've the coaches do a good job giving us situations and keeping that in mind.
Shane said he thought there would be some opportunities to make plays through the air. What did you guys see that maybe created that thought? I think first starting with us, I think just when you look at our guys and our weapons and guys who are favorable matchups for us just because they're talented players and have a strong skill set at certain things. So I think that's where it starts, and then I thought game plan wise, just knowing the team, knowing what they wanted to do defensively, some of their coverages. I thought it was just a strong game plan from that standpoint. We were set up for success in a lot of ways. So I think credit to the coaches and how much work they put into the game plan.
You had a couple of QB sneak touchdowns. Afterwards, you hardly reacted. You were more trying to find your guys and celebrate with them. Why is it important for you to, share that moment and share that success?
I think a quarterback sneak touchdowns has a lot to do with the offensive line, creating that space but I don't know. It's those were long drives and a lot went into them. So I think just always enjoy celebrating with the team.
First game of the year is always a learning experience for fans, us, for you guys, I'm sure in some ways. But did it surprise you about how well you guys played? No puns except for one guy.
No, I don't think it was surprising to us. I think, we've had a lot of confidence based on our preparation and the work we've put in through training camp and kind of where we think we've grown and improved. You always got to go out there and do it on the field and perform. So there's that element to it. But no, we weren't surprised. But like I said, now the challenge is to grow with it, build, and continue to develop as a team, as an offense.
How much does Tyler's versatility expand what you guys can do on offense?
think it adds a lot, for sure. I think, he's a, dangerous guy with the ball in his hands. He's going to make extra yards. He's physical. He's going to go up and make the tough catch, a number of those things. So, I think he does a lot for us.
Daniel, I know this is your first season, but was there an extra meaning to you guys winning today for Jim Irsay?
Yeah, I think for sure. I am obviously new here and didn't get to know Mr. Irsay, but you can just tell from all the people around here who did have close relationships with how much he meant to them and how much he meant to this organization, the city. So I think it does mean a little bit more for that reason, and so I think it's fun to go out there and get a win.
And that was Daniel Jones talking about the Colts and their 33-8 win over the Miami Dolphins in Week 1. Again, I'd hope the Colts could win this one. I just didn't know if they'd be able to pull it out, and they really left no doubt about this. The first drive, they went downfield. The first pass was to Warren. It was a really nice play, and the Colts looked pretty sharp, I thought, but they kind of settled for a field goal, and you kind of worried about that a little bit. But on the first defensive snap, the first defensive series, they ended up getting an interception. Cam Bynum, it was a ball overthrown by Tua Tagovailoa. It was an overthrown ball by Tua Tagovailoa, and Bynum was there, and he got it, and, we saw a celebration and all that, and really the Colts defense was really a standout here. They created 3 turnovers, and their guys were all over the place. And I mean, they used Kenny Moore in different positions. They did different things with Latu, dropped him into coverage that led to an interception in this game. They got some pressure on the Dolphins. I think 3 sacks is kind of what they finished with in this game. And it was a lot. 2 of the sacks came off of edge pressures from the secondary. Kenny Moore being disruptive, and that's something that we've wanted to see from Kenny Moore, and we just didn't see that a ton from Gus Bradley's defense here. But Kenny Moore can be a weapon for you in the secondary, just kind of a missile coming off the edge. He got Tua, caused a fumble. Xavier Howard, was able to recover that thing, so that was good for them. So he had one off the edge. Nick Cross had one off the edge. And then I think Samson Ebukam had the other sack for the Colts. So 3 turnovers for Indianapolis and just a shifting defense. Then it looked to me, just kind of had Miami off guard because they just, Louis Anarumo, you got film on him from like when he was the defensive coordinator of the Bengals and all of that. But it is different personnel, and you just don't know what he's going to do as the Colts defensive coordinator. He's got that reputation as the mad scientist and all that. And you could see that just moving guys around, and it looks like everybody's up the line of scrimmage, and then it's up to the quarterback to quickly diagnose what's going on, who's dropping, who's coming. And, I never in my wildest dreams did I think that, we did see it actually in training camp with Latu dropping into coverage a little bit. So I guess that's not necessarily a surprise, but the fact that he was able to get an interception for the Colts and just kind of keep things going. Probably the only blemish, and I'm sure the Colts would want to say this too, is they would have liked to have had the shutout, and they were just a couple of missed tackles away from getting that. Devin Achane was able to kind of power his way through there and get in the end zone on 4th down. Otherwise, the Colts would have had their first shutout in a couple of seasons. So, but really, I mean, you can't really say too much about how the Colts played on the defensive side of the ball. Will they be able to replicate that plan? I don't know, but they locked down for the most part the Miami receivers. We didn't really see Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle make any really big plays. It was a pretty good effort, and when you're able to turn over the other team and you're able to turn those turnovers into points, typically it's going to be a bad day for the other team. And so the Colts were able to do that. And as a result, were able to win this game. I did want to talk a little bit about Tyler Warren for the Indianapolis Colts. Pretty much just as good as advertised for him in this game. Didn't get in the end zone, but, he had 7 catches for 76 yards, heavily featured in the Colts' first drive. and got them into the end zone, or that got them a field goal. I think Warren probably could have had a touchdown if he had not been interfered later in the game by Miami. A lot of people think that he probably got defensive back was a little handsy on that one. But we also saw him with a little fullback dive because we said he'd move around, and he did. He was in the slot. He was outside some. They put him in the backfield. So just all kinds of things that you can do with Tyler Warren, and you can see why the Colts made him such a high pick and why he is such a valuable thing to have for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, outside of the game, during halftime, the Colts did honor the late owner, Jim Irsay. It'd be his first season, without the team, or first season without the team is in its first season without Mr. Irsay at the helm. And so, they brought in 12, I think, of the 18 current Ring of Honor folks were there. You had Peyton and Edgerrin James and those types of people showing up to show their respect for the boss. And let's listen real quickly to see what Peyton Manning had to say.
Jim gave us a stage and you a team. He did everything he could to make sure we were worthy of your cheers. But even at your very best, it was never just you, the fans, behind us. It was Jim. He didn't just own the Colts. He bound us all together. His legacy roars with every one of you. There is no place Jim Irsay belongs more than right here in the Colts Ring of Honor.
Kaylin and Casey, can you please do the honors?
You couldn't have asked for a better opener for the Indianapolis Colts. The 33-8 win over the Miami Dolphins at home, in front of the crowd, honoring the boss. Snapping that streak, I think, is probably the best thing that the franchise could ask for. And it was a terrific win for the Colts. Now they'll look ahead to another home game. Next week, it'll be against the Denver Broncos. That Broncos team has been getting a lot of play on how, probably one of a lot of people think they're one of the stronger teams in the AFC West. We'll just have to see. That's a pretty stacked division right now. But we'll just have to see how things go for the Colts. Right now, the important thing is 1-0. They got a chance to maybe stack a few wins at this part of the schedule before things get really, really tough about midway through. And, before they have to hit the road and they've got to play in Berlin, Germany and all that stuff. So we'll just see how things go. But for now, that will do it for the Colts Blue Zone podcast. Should be Dave Griffiths and Mike Chappell joining me on Thursday as we preview the Broncos and get their reaction to kind of how things went on this week's game. So thank you for listening, and we will catch you later.